I am ready, and I think Kevin is as well, and also our attendees, to move on to the Q&A section finally. Okay, so let's start with the first question from Diana. When doing this, how is your sustainability with videos from outside of iSpring? And this question is for you, Kevin.
Yeah, so we host everything on Vimeo, and I have not had any issues at all. Outside of Vimeo, I really can't speak to any of the other hosting options.
Thanks a lot. And the question from Chet. I noticed in your dialog simulation example that you didn't include the status happy/sad sliding bar. Do you have a preference of when to use and when not to use it?
That's a great question. I don't really have a preference one way or another. I thought because of just, the emotion conveyed on the person's face, that was really enough information, but certainly you can use it. And, like anything, I would test it with your learners. And, if they like it, keep doing it. And if they don't like it, then don't do it as much or at all.
Thank you. And Javier is asking, can you please comment on your experience with mobile users and the approach you used for small screens?
Yeah, most of our students use mobile pretty extensively. A variety of our courses, so we've got a number of courses. Some are built entirely in Quizmaker and some are built in Presenter. Presenter does scale down quite nicely. So it's definitely a smaller version of what you would see on the screen, but we make sure, especially with font size and image size and any links and that sort of thing in there, that it's still easy to read and easy to interact with. As far as Quizmaker, Quizmaker seems to work great. It does render a little bit differently on mobile, but in a very positive way, right? So it just makes it so it's easier to read and easier to work with. So the short answer is our students use a lot of mobile, they love it, and everybody's happy.
Great. Thank you very much for this answer, Kevin. So the next question from Marlene. How do you answer tech support questions from learners? Do you refer them to iSpring support?
So for the most part, we are able to handle all of that. What we've done for our learners is, we make sure we have a suite of videos that show them exactly how to use the courses. So that's going to make it so they really don't even have to reach out to us or iSpring. And then certainly if they have questions, we always direct them to us. And I would say 99.9% of the time, we're able to help them.
Thank you, Kevin. So next question is from Marlene again. How do you deal with Flash-based presentations? Do you learners ever have problems viewing them from different browsers?
Easy answer to that is I don't use them. iSpring will publish to HTML. So everything is through that. We don't use anything that is Flash-based anymore. We kind of saw that starting to go away a couple of years ago and didn't want to waste any time with it.
That's a perfect solution, I suppose, not to use Flash. And also, how about copyright, Kevin? How do you protect content?
Yeah, so this is always a challenge, right? So we do copyright everything. We're based in the US, so we take all of our content when we create a course and all the images, and we send it to the copyright agency and the federal government to get all that protected. The reality of it is, if you're going to put something on the internet, there's always potential for people to take it. So really, you do the best you can. And when you see infringements, you need to make sure to act on those. So for example, we see a lot of learners put content on Quizlet, for instance. So then it's a matter of going to Quizlet and doing the takedown notice, and it takes a little bit of time, but I think it's an important thing to do. And then of course in the terms of service agreement, we do have what is allowed and what is not allowed.
Thank you for covering this question as well, Kevin. So let's move on to the next one. Cord is asking, Kevin, how big is your team and what are your timelines in creating/updating these courses?
Yeah, so when we started, for the first couple of years, it was me and a colleague that founded the business. We have since grown, so we've got 2 other full-time employees. We have an administrative specialist on staff that helps with obviously the administrative needs of the business. as well as customer service. And we also have a full-time medical illustrator on staff that does all of our images and videos and that sort of thing. And then, of course, we have a series of 1099 contractors that, do one-off things for us. By and large, we create all of our content in-house. But, the reality of it is you can do this as, an individual and just farm things out, as your budget allows.
Thank you, Kevin. The next question is from Sandy. I understand that online learning is best delivered in shorter chunks, but how long is your longest module? Does it become less reliable when it gets to a certain size for SCORM to perform?
So there are a couple pieces to this. Number one, it really, what are the stakes for your learners? So for our learners, they need to pass this exam to be able to practice. So if I made something that was 20 minutes or 3 hours, it really doesn't matter because they're going to do it because their need is so great. Having said that, I have immense respect for the learner. I try and make sure that anything I create is something that I would happily learn from. So, we really try and keep things somewhere in the 15 to 20-minute range if it's video based. Some of the more text heavy things might take upwards of an hour or so, but it's chunked such that, you can do 10 minutes, step away, come back later, and pick up exactly where you left off. And it still creates a good experience.
Thank you very much for covering it. And let's cover one more question that I think we have left from Mary Kay. Is there any benefit to creating simulations in TalkMaster over just using the dialect simulation option in the iSpring application, which I think is the same? Yeah, TalkMaster is simply the name for this dialect simulation option in iSpring. So
Yes.
all right, so at this point, it looks like we've covered all the questions. I would like to thank all of you guys for being so active and for this wonderful and interesting questions that you asked our presenter. And actually, your peer, Kevin, he's the same iSpringer as you guys are. So I hope it was a interesting webinar and you will be able to use this information in your training. Thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning in today. And thanks to you, Kevin. We very much appreciate your doing this session for us.
Happy to be here, Polina. Thank you. And thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. Bye, Kevin. See you at the next webinar.
Bye-bye.